The season 14 finale of Chicago Fire delivers one of the most emotional, suspenseful, and devastating episodes of franchise has seen in years. Episode 21, titled Thank You, feels less like a standard procedural episode and more like the beginning of a major turning point for Firehouse 51. From emotional family conversations to dangerous rescue operations and a shocking cliffhanger ending, the finale constantly reminds viewers that nobody at Firehouse 51 is truly safe anymore. And by the end of the episode, fans are left with one terrifying question: who survives the explosion? Let's break down the full story recap and explain that heartbreaking ending. The episode wastes absolutely no time throwing viewers into tension. Instead of beginning with the usual Firehouse banner or character setup, the finale opens in the middle of complete disaster. Smoke fills the air. Fire trucks crowd the streets. Civilians are screaming. Emergency radios overlap with frantic commands. A massive industrial building is burning out of control. The camera quickly cuts between firefighters inside the structure and worried first responders outside trying desperately to contain the situation. Severide, Kid, Herman, Cruz, and several members of 51 are already inside when something suddenly goes wrong. Then the screen cuts to black. Immediately, viewers know this finale is heading somewhere dangerous. After the intense opening sequence, the episode flashes back several hours earlier to show how the firefighters arrived at this catastrophic moment. And honestly, this storytelling structure works brilliantly because every scene afterward carries emotional weight. Even the quieter moments suddenly feel ominous because audiences already know disaster is coming. Firehouse 51 feels different. One thing the episode does extremely well is show how much Firehouse 51 has changed over the years. The station still feels like a family, but there's a quieter emotional tone hanging over everyone throughout the finale. Many characters are facing personal crossroads, and the episode constantly hints that change is unavoidable. That emotional atmosphere becomes... Severide has struggled with questions about leadership responsibility and whether he still belongs in the same role he's had for years. The finale pushes those questions further than ever before. Severide is approached with a major opportunity connected to fire investigation leadership. It's the kind of career advancement that could completely redefine his future. But taking it would also mean leaving behind parts of Firehouse 51. The possibility clearly affects him emotionally, even if he refuses to admit it openly. For years, Severide has defined himself through danger and action. But now he's beginning to think about stability, long-term purpose, and family. That internal conflict becomes one of the episode's most important emotional storylines. Stella Kid and Severide's family future. The emotional heart of the episode belongs to Stella Kid and Severide. Their relationship has survived enormous challenges throughout the series, but this finale focuses less on romance and more on the future they're trying to build together. One of the episode's most touching scenes involves Isaiah, the young boy they've been caring for. The interactions between Isaiah, Kid, and Severide reveal a softer side of both characters that longtime fans rarely saw during earlier seasons. Severide especially seems transformed around him. For someone once known mainly for recklessness and emotional distance, seeing him embrace responsibility and emotional vulnerability feels incredibly meaningful. But the episode also quietly plants fear underneath these family moments. Every happy scene feels temporary. Every emotional conversation feels like something viewers may look back on tragically later. That sense of emotional dread hangs over nearly the entire finale. Herman and Cindy's emotional storyline. Another major emotional storyline focuses on Christopher Herman and Cindy. After everything Cindy endured with her health struggles earlier in the series, the finale spends significant time showing how deeply the couple values simple moments together now. Herman has always been one of the emotional anchors of Firehouse 51. He represents stability, loyalty, and family in a world filled with danger and chaos. In episode 21, the writers clearly emphasize how important he is emotionally to everyone around him. Several scenes subtly focus on Herman, reflecting on life, legacy, and the people he loves. At first, these moments seem warm and sentimental, but as the episode progresses, they start feeling like emotional setup for something much darker. That's one of the reasons the finale feels so tense. The episode constantly balances hope with fear. Violet and Carver continue their emotional struggles. Meanwhile, Violet and Sam Carver continue dealing with emotional complications of their own. Carver has spent much of the season battling internal struggles, isolation, and unresolved emotional pain. Violet wants to help him, but their connection remains complicated by fear, timing, and emotional baggage. Episode 21 pushes their relationship into more vulnerable territory. For the first time in a long while, Carver begins opening up emotionally instead of burying everything beneath sarcasm and emotional walls. Violet recognizes that progress immediately, but she also understands how fragile it is. The scenes between them are quieter than the larger disaster storyline, but they add important emotional depth to the episode. Because while the finale is filled with explosions and danger, it's really about relationships, about people trying desperately to hold on to each other in a profession where everything can disappear instantly. The disaster begins. Eventually, the episode transitions fully toward the major emergency teased at the beginning. A fire breaks out inside a large industrial warehouse connected to hazardous chemical storage. At first, the situation appears dangerous but manageable. Then Firehouse 51 discovers the fire is spreading much faster than expected. Toxic materials inside the building create unpredictable explosions, rapidly changing conditions and structural instability. Severide immediately realizes the situation is worse than dispatch originally reported. But by that point, civilians are still trapped inside. Naturally, Firehouse 51 refuses to back down. The rescue operation quickly becomes one of the most intense action sequences Chicago Fire has delivered in recent seasons. Smoke consumes entire hallways. Visibility disappears. Firefighters become separated from one another inside the building. Communication starts breaking down, and every second increases the danger. The direction during these scenes is phenomenal because it creates genuine panic. The audience feels trapped alongside the firefighters. Even longtime viewers who are used to dangerous rescues begin realizing the situation feels different, more serious, more final. Severide takes command. As conditions worsen, Severide steps fully into leadership mode. One of the reasons Severide remains such an important character is because he becomes calm during chaos. While others panic, he focuses. The finale highlights that perfectly. Despite the danger surrounding them, Severide organizes evacuation strategies, coordinates rescue attempts, and keeps his team moving under impossible conditions. But emotionally, viewers can sense something else happening too. This may be one of the first times Severide truly understands how much Firehouse 51 depends on him. That realization becomes especially important during his scenes with Kid. Before entering the most dangerous section of the building, there's a subtle emotional exchange between them that feels incredibly heavy. Nothing dramatic is said outright, but the fear underneath the conversation is obvious. Both characters understand the risk, and neither knows whether everyone is coming home. The most terrifying moment of the episode. The emotional tension finally explodes during the episode's final rescue attempt. Several firefighters remain trapped deep inside the warehouse after part of the structure collapses unexpectedly. Severide, Kid, Herman, Cruz, and others rush back inside despite worsening conditions. Outside, Chief Pascal realizes disaster may be unavoidable. Then everything goes wrong. A massive explosion erupts inside the warehouse. The blast tears through the building with horrifying force, sending debris flying across the scene and knocking firefighters to the ground outside. Windows shatter. Smoke erupts into the night sky. And then silence. For several terrifying seconds, nobody knows who survived. The episode intentionally avoids giving viewers immediate answers. Instead, it focuses on reactions outside the building. Panic, fear, confusion, and desperate attempts to locate missing firefighters. That choice makes the ending even more devastating emotionally, because audiences are forced to sit in uncertainty alongside the characters themselves. The ending explained. The ending of episode 21 is designed as one of the biggest cliffhangers in recent Chicago fire history. The explosion represents more than just another dangerous rescue gone wrong. Symbolically, it reflects how unstable and uncertain the future of Firehouse 51 has become. Throughout the episode, nearly every character discusses change, family, responsibility, or the future. That isn't accidental. The finale constantly asks whether these firefighters can continue living this dangerous life forever, and then the explosion forces that question into terrifying reality. The reason the ending works so well emotionally is because the episode spends so much time reminding viewers what these characters mean to each other before placing them in mortal danger. The cliffhanger also cleverly avoids confirming specific deaths immediately. Instead, the finale creates emotional suspense around the entire future of the Firehouse. Fans are left wondering, did Severide survive? Is Kid trapped inside? Could Herman be seriously injured? Will Firehouse 51 ever be the same again? That uncertainty is exactly what makes the ending so effective. Why the finale feels so emotional. One major reason episode 21 works better than many recent finales is because it focuses heavily on emotional connection before the disaster happens. The episode isn't just about action. It's about people. Every major character receives emotional moments centered around family, love, friendship, or future dreams before the explosion occurs. That storytelling approach makes the danger feel personal instead of purely spectacle-driven. Viewers aren't simply worried about firefighters surviving a fire. They're worried about relationships ending forever. That emotional investment is what separates Chicago Fire from many other procedural dramas. At its best, the series understands that the rescues matter because the characters matter first. What this means for Season 15. The finale clearly sets up enormous changes for Season 15. Even if every major character survived the explosion, the emotional consequences alone will permanently affect Firehouse 51 moving forward. Severide's future leadership decision now feels far more complicated. After nearly losing everyone he loves, he may begin questioning whether continuing this life is worth the cost. Kid could also face emotional trauma after the disaster, especially considering how close she and Severide have become emotionally and personally. Herman's storyline may become even more important moving forward, as Firehouse 51 searches for stability after the explosion. And if the series chooses to kill or seriously injure someone major, the emotional fallout could reshape the entire franchise. The finale intentionally leaves every possibility open. Why this is one of the best Chicago Fire finales in years. Chicago Fire has delivered many emotional endings over the years, but episode 21 succeeds because it balances spectacle with genuine emotional storytelling. The episode understands that audiences care about these characters deeply after so many seasons together.